Very good. I want to introduce you to David Herbert. Now, before I present my creep, I do want to warn people, this one's brutal. And it pains me to have to bring this to the program. But listen, it's a tight game. It's a tight race right now, 3-3. So I decided, why not get a W this week? But if you're not a fan of people torturing animals, you might not like this one. Play my my clip number 1, the news report on this guy.
So you won last week because some lady killed a cat. So you're doubling down this week with more of this
New
shit?
developments. A Navy veteran behind bars for brutally beating his neighbor's dogs.
Oh, boy. Okay, we got a dog torturer. That's not good.
Oh
boy.
no.
So David Herbert, you guys, have you heard me talk about how my neighbor's dog is out in the yard at 6 a.m. just barking and everything? And I get very annoyed.
Yes, we've talked about it.
Yeah. So this guy, imagine this is like how this guy feels about his neighbor's dog, but he decides that he's going to put an end to that. And so clip number 2 is how we went about this.
A 6-month investigation landed 36-year-old David Herbert behind bars. He's accused of abusing 4 different dogs inside this same house, connected to his yard by just this fence.
I couldn't explain why he did it and why only these neighbors here, other than he didn't want pets anywhere near his house.
Since February, police say he broke into the home, poured toxic chemicals on their 2 huskies, and fed them drugs.
An unknown type of chemical was poured on them, causing them to have hair loss and skin burns.
Right on their faces, too. So this guy's breaking into the house next door to torture their dogs. He's not waiting for them to be outside and annoy them. He's just going right in there and going after him. I know, Vinny, the look on your face says it all.
I have dogs. This is really not cool.
This is really bad.
This is horrifying, Karl.
Yeah. What's the next clip called?
Batting practice.
Oh, boy.
No.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. You son of a bitch. Batting practice?
Weeks later, he got in again, beating them with a baseball bat, leaving 1 dog without an eye.
There was a bat that was located inside the residence that had what appeared to be blood. They went ahead and confirmed that was blood from one of the animals.
So, Vinny, I know what you're thinking. All right, Karl, you win this week. This is brutal. It can't get much worse than this. Oh, but it does, Vinny, because these people decide to move out. They're like, I don't like living in this neighborhood where people break into our house and torture our dogs. Let's get out of here. New neighbors come in. Now, the new neighbors also have dogs.
That family moved out, and new pet owners moved in. Shortly after, their 2 dogs were inexplicably let out of the house. 1 was returned, but 1 is still missing. Police served a search warrant at Herbert's home in June. Lab testing connected the dogs to DNA evidence found in his car.
Okay, so they did eventually catch this monster.
Okay, can I just say something here?
Yeah.
This is the real estate agent's fault for this second couple. Because
do you have any dogs? Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah.
You have the down payment, right?
You think you would mention it?
As long as they have the down payment.
Oh,
but dude, you know what's crazy is that this guy goes so far. Check out this next clip. He's even like setting up torture for these animals in his own backyard.
God.
His backyard set up as a danger zone for dogs.
He had some electronic equipment that would stop barking dogs that cause a high pitch in their ears, which would irritate them. Those were set up in his backyard. So he definitely had a thing against pets.
He did not like barking dogs.
That's not like, that doesn't hurt the dogs. People have those. That's
Well,
like basically what a dog whistle is.
According to this report, it was very painful for the dogs, and so they would stop barking because of it. Now, Vinny, the good news is this man was sentenced to 8 years and 8 months behind bars.
Okay.
The bad news is he lives in California. And this all took place in 2017. And then in 2020, this thing called the COVID pandemic happened. And look at what happens next.
Oceanside man convicted of severe animal abuse for attacking his neighbor's dogs is set for early release under a COVID-19 prison program.
News 8's David Gottfredson has confirmed details of David Herbert's release, now set for next Monday.
I'm in awe on his release. I was really surprised to get that phone call.
Michelle Plaqueta received the phone call last week that David Herbert, the man convicted of torturing dogs in her neighborhood, is set to be released early from prison.
Was that like a prison release read? Like, who read that? Who was that last person's voice?
It's a good question. I was like trying to do an impression of someone or something. That wasn't a real voice.
Oh, God.
All right. So COVID happens and they have to make room in the prisons, Vinny, because there are, I don't know if you remember this time in our lives, but there were restaurant owners who were serving people food outdoors on the patio. So they're like, we got to make room in this prison for all of these restaurateurs who are trying to stay open and serve people food. Also, there's a guy with a boogie board in the ocean. He's got to go in prison. So this guy who tortures dogs, let him out. Let's get the real sinister people off the streets.
They were spreading a disease.
They were
Karl.
spreading the disease that killed everyone. Remember when everyone died from that disease, Vinny?
Yeah, I don't. Well, a couple.
So-
we lost a couple.
So this is fucked.
One or two.
This is fucked because this guy tortures dogs, sentenced to almost 9 years in prison, doesn't even spend a year in prison, is being let out. And my clip number 7, this is just for the W.
One of the dogs, a husky, had its eye gouged out. Michelle's dog Lala was taken and never found.
Every crime that he committed, he researched it prior to doing it, and then he researched how to get away with it after committing it. So that in itself says a lot as to what kind of individual that we're dealing with.
You're telling me this motherfucker Googled how to remove a husky's eye and get away with it?
Yeah. What kind of acid do dogs disagree with? There's some weird Google searches right there.
Jesus Christ.
So that's
Karl.
my creep this week. David Herbert, creepiest Navy veteran.
Well, he was in the Navy. He didn't even go over that, did you?
Yeah, I was in my first clip.
Oh, okay.